So today we're going to talk about what is an economy. Then we're going to talk about some economic activities. The main, portion of this stream, the title is Economic Sectors and Patterns, which is really just about the economic activities. Then we're going to talk about commodity chains and Weber's least cost theory. And then we're going to do that little discussion activity that I talked about in the chat. So it's time to talk about, as I said with emojis, factories and industrialization, and money. Money, 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 money. All right, so we've been talking about economy, economics, industrialization, all of that jazz. We've been talking about that a lot recently. So what does that actually mean? Well, if you Google it, there's a website called Investopedia that says an economy is a large set of interrelated production and consumption activities that aid in determining how scarce resources are allocated. The production and consumption of goods and services are used to fulfill the needs of those living and operating within the economy, which is also referred to as an economic system. That sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo, but I broke it down in a lot of tiny words for you guys. So let's look at that statement. The first part says that an economy has many moving parts that are created and sold to people. So that's literal and figurative. So there are moving parts, like there are, moving parts in the factory, there are gears, but then there are also many, different pieces that need to make an economy work. It's a large set of interrelated production and consumption. Lots of moving parts. The first sentence also references that an economy affects the supply and demand for goods and services. That's all about the scarcity part, determining how scarce resources are allocated. So scarce resources are just something that we don't have a lot of. We have more demand than we have supply for the scarce resources. The second sentence talks about how people buy these goods. They're known as consumers, and they consume these goods, consumption. They buy the goods and services that they want. So the production and consumption of goods and services, so basically somebody makes them, and then you buy them. The goods and services are what they make. They're used to fulfill the needs of those living and operating within the economy. And the economy that they operate and live in is called their economic system. So to recap, an economy is basically people that buy things from the people that make things. That's all an economy is. This is what the whole unit is about. In this unit 7, you will examine how supply and demand affect a country and can improve standards of living, and how different economic systems can help citizens of a country gain more or less equality. We've kind of examined that in previous streams, but I wanted to take a step back at the beginning of this one just to talk about what is an economy. And whenever you see the word economy in human geography, you're going to think money, 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 just like Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob. You have my Bitmoji giving everybody some money, throwing money everywhere. That's my Bitmoji is the consumer right there, and I'm buying all the goods with that money. So the first sentence is the second paragraph. So an economy is basically people that buy things from the people that make things. So this is me giving all my money to the people that make things. During quarantine, I've kind of gained an obsession with using a ton of emojis and using my Bitmoji all the time. So kind of weird, but I like it. So we're moving on. So now let's talk about economic activities. So there are 5 kinds of economic activity: primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, and quinary. It's literally just like first, second, third, fourth, fifth. That's it. That's all I need to remember for economic activities. There are 5 of them: primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, quinary. Now let's define all of those. They're basically just fancy vocab words. That's a really big key concept in this unit. So primary economic activity is the most basic type of economic activity. It deals with the extraction of raw materials from the earth. So anything that's a primary economic activity, it's agriculture, mining, energy extraction, forestry, fisheries. So anybody that take their products directly from the environment. The primary economic activity is when I take it away. Like I just take the crops from the ground. I mine the wood. I mine for the ore. I cut down trees and forestry to get wood. Agriculture, forestry, mining, fishing. Those are all primary economic activities here. Secondary economic activities. So these are the second one. These are the ones that deal with, making things, manufacturing. They deal with the processing of raw materials that you get from the primary economic activities. So with economic activities, one thing leads to another. So when I extract the materials, like, this broccoli, right? I don't know if you can even see my mouse, the broccoli right here in the primary economic activity, I can, grab it from the ground, and then it'll be sent to some food manufacturing plant and maybe like put in a microwave, microwavable dish with, all sorts of different veggies that you can microwave and eat. So to recap, I get the materials from the earth in the primary economic activity. That's agriculture, mining, industry, forestry. And then I take them and bring them into my secondary economic activity and manufacture them into goods and services that can be sold. So when we looked at what an economy is earlier, so the first economic activity, the primary economic activity, is when the people get the goods to sell. And the secondary economic activity is when they make the goods able to be sold. So all of this connects. Like, this is all just like a sequence of events in primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, and quinary economic activities. So let's look at tertiary economic activities. Tertiary economic activities include the retailing and transportation of the finished goods to the people who buy them. So let's follow the timeline again. So we start with a primary economic activity. We get the materials from the earth. Secondary economic activity takes those primary materials, and then we manufacture them into something that can be sold. And the tertiary economic activity moves the goods from the factory to the store and then sells them. That's how the tertiary economic activity works. So we've connected primary to secondary to tertiary. So a lot of tertiary economic activities are like the basic things for quaternary and quinary. The fourth and fifth, quaternary and quinary, they're really like specialized, specific definitions. So basically tertiary is like the general overarching theme, and then quaternary and quinary are a little bit more specific, like they're very specialized, specified. That's not a word, but that's okay. So everything connects here. That's kind of the point of economic activities. So now we're done with tertiary, we move into quaternary economic activities. So they include the standard business services for research and administration. Examples include finance, insurance, marketing, and wholesaling. So let's connect this again. We started with primary, where we got the materials from the earth. Then we moved to secondary, when we made them in manufacturing and we made them able to be sold. Tertiary transports them to the store and makes them able to be sold. But how does quaternary connect to this, you ask? It's kind of more like out there. It's not just, the basic, it's not basic, like it's not just a connection on the timeline. This one goes above and beyond the tertiary economic activity. With quaternary, you have all of the marketing, you have all of the research and the finance and administration that goes into tertiary economic activities. So tertiary economic activities are these are the people who check you out at the grocery stores. These are the people who work to restock the shelves, and this is when you buy the goods. But with quaternary economic activities, these are the owners of the Kroger, Publix, Walmart, etc. that you go to. These people are the marketing department for Kroger that gets, commercials on TV that gets you to buy the goods. So the real chain goes from primary to secondary to tertiary. And then you have all of these upper level people in quaternary and quinary that are helping get the goods to you. So with the tertiary, you just have them selling them. But with the quaternary economic activities, you actually have people who make you want to buy the goods. They get a market for the goods with marketing, with research, with, finance, all of those, all that nice jazz, all the administration that goes into running a store. And quinary economic activity, that just goes a step above quaternary. It's the highest level that includes consumer services that consist of the highest level of decision-making and large-scale research. So with quinary, this is like the tippity top. This is like the 0.001% of people. This is like the overall top. This is the CEO of the Kroger brand families. This is the CEO of Walmart. This is the FCC commissioner who controls all of the trade. This is the SEC deputy director who taxes all these people. This is the IRS. The quinary economic activities is when the people who run the people who run the people. Like, these are the people who run everything. You see that emoji right there? That's I think that's supposed to be the White House. I mean, that's what I'm thinking when I chose it. So like that's the highest level of decision making in our government. It's the highest level of decision making in businesses. Like we have people who run the trade laws, things like that. So we have really high paying, really high role jobs with the highest level of decision making in quinary. Quinary is the highest level of economic activity, and it's the highest role in the company, in the government, in, our democracy. So let's try to connect these again. So as I've said this about 30,000 times by this point in the stream, even though we are only 13 minutes in, we have the primary extraction when you get the goods from the earth. That's the primary economic activity. Then we take them to the manufacturing plant and have them be manufactured into consumer goods in the secondary economic activity. And then in the tertiary economic activity, we get the people who sell the goods to you. With the quaternary economic activity, we have the people who control the people who sell the goods. This is going to be the people who want you to buy the goods. They try to convince you that you need the goods with things like marketing, management, and just the management of tertiary activities. But the quinary is the management of all the economic activities. These are the highest role people. This is the Monsanto CEO who controls the goods from when they are first, picked from the earth at Monsanto farms to when they are manufactured in Monsanto factories to when they are sold to stores that partner with Monsanto, where the quaternary person is the one who is marketing the products and the quinary person is the CEO of the Monsanto family of brands. Do you guys understand economic sectors and activities now? Give me something in the chat for feedback. Like, yep, got it. This is pretty easy. I know my stuff. Thanks for this. Or I need more help. All right, I have one yes. There are 5 people here, so I'll wait for like one more response now that Haley has said yes. Looks like Michaela said yes too. Hannah, perfect. You guys get this? This is pretty straightforward. It's not like the hardest thing to learn in this unit. Some of the earlier stuff in the streams is more complicated, which is why we kind of wanted to save some of the easier stuff for last. Just, ride you out of the unit. All right, so now we're done talking about economic sectors. Now we're going to talk about the patterns of the economy. So there is one theory in Unit 7 that we have not discussed yet that really connects to economic sectors. This is Weber's least cost theory. You can call it Weber's least cost theory. You can call it Weber, which is the real pronunciation of his name. It's some weird German pronunciation thing. I don't know. Don't ask me why. But, Alfred Weber, this German guy, comes up with this least cost theory. So the theory involves 2 parts. It's about the triangle and it's about the graph. So the whole point of the least cost theory is to make the business spend less on the manufacturing of goods. So let's go back to that first slide, if I can get to it, about what is an economy. So economy is the people that buy things from the people that make things. So Weber's least cost theory tries to minimize the cost for the people who make the things, so they can make more money from the people who buy the things. With Weber's least cost theory, we want people to choose the place to put their factory that will cost them the least amount of money. So in this triangle, you see the town where things are sold. So this could be like our store. So Thirsty Town is going to be the town that wants to buy the beer, because we have hops and grain fields over here in the mountain springs. So this is one of the best examples of Weber's least cost theory. It's like the most often cited because it was his first idea. I don't know, maybe he really liked beer. Not my place to judge. I hope he was an adult when he came up with this. So we have Thirsty Town over here. We have the rail juncture, which is where the factory is going to be over here. And then we have our primary economic activities over here. So even in the least cost theory, you can see the economic activities. At the bottom and here, you have our 2 places where we get the materials, where we primarily extract them. This is going to be our primary economic activity in the hops and grain fields in the mountain spring. So from the mountain spring, we're going to be getting water. But from the hops and grain fields, we're going to have people who are harvesting the hops and grains, like in these 2 pictures right here. That's the primary economic activity. Then the people are going to bring these things to the rail juncture. This is where our manufacturing plant is going to be. So our manufacturing plant is going to be involved in our secondary economic activity. This is when they take the hops and the grain and the liquid water, and they combine them into something that can be sold, beer. Then in your tertiary economic activity, you're going to have people who bring the goods from the factory to Thirsty Town, and then that's going to be your tertiary economic activity, because then they're going to sell the beer, and then the people are going to buy it. It's the whole definition of an economy. You go from primary to secondary to tertiary. But we're quaternary and quinary. Well, they're somewhere over here in Thirsty Town too, or maybe they're all the way over here in Thirsty City in management. The Quaternary and Quinary is the big management people. So maybe they're not working in Thirsty Town. Maybe they're working all the way over here in Capital City. working where all the different businesses are, so they can have marketing people. This is called a agglomeration, where you have all of the management people all the way over here, far away from Thirsty Town and like the capital city. So that's where you have all of the Quaternary and Quinary economic activities taking place. Capital city all the way over here, way far away from Thirsty Town. But the triangle, this is where all of the, primary, secondary, tertiary economic activities go in. So with the least cost theory, there's also the graph part of it. So the triangle is the main part that you need to know if Unit 7 was on the AP exam, which sadly it's not. Little interjection of my thoughts here. Unit 6 and 7 are actually my two favorite units of the AP Human Geography course. If I had to rank the units, I would say 6, 7, 4, 2, 5, 3, and I'm not even counting Unit 1 because that's not really like content units. That's kind of just like introduction. So Unit 6 and 7 are definitely my favorite units of AP Human Geography. Like, they're the most interesting. They're the most fun. They wrap up the whole course. Like, I was really sad that they're not on the exam for y'all this year. But anyways, we're going to keep learning about Unit 7. We already learned about Unit 6. So let's keep learning about Unit 7. So we have the weight gaining case right here. So the graph decides where they're going to put the processing location. So we've talked about where the different economic activities are in the triangle, but why do we put them there? So there are 3 triangles inside of the bigger triangle. So these triangles are going to make up where it costs the least. So there are things called weight gaining and weight losing industries. So in weight gaining industries, the final product weighs more and costs more to transport than the actual primary products do. So in a weight losing industry, that means that the stuff that you take from the primary extraction sites is going to weigh more than the final product. So with beer, for example, it's a shorter distance from Thirsty Town to the rail junction, and it's a longer distance to the hops and grain fields because this is a weight gaining industry. They're willing to take the hops and grain farther to the factory, so it's less distance away from Thirsty Town. And that's kind of what that graph describes right here. The source is going to include both of these. So you have the source from the hops and grain field right here that's 6 miles away. Then you have the 5-mile source right here. They're going to be combined at a factory right here in this processing location area, and then they're going to be taken to the market as one final product. So the least cost theory just decides where you put your manufacturing plant in relation to the place that people are buying the goods and where you're getting the materials to make the goods from. Do you guys get least cost theory? I mean, I can definitely elaborate more. Like, there's a ton of like different nuances and stuff. Do you want to learn more about the least cost theory or just keep going? All right, Brittany has it. Brittany's on top of her game today because like she's responding first and I ask things all the time. So shout out to Brittany for being really involved. All right, well, I think that I'll just go on, right? Kelly says yes too. So the last major content thing that we have to talk about today is commodity chains and break of bulk points. These are two pretty, straightforward concepts. That is going to sound like a pun once I tell you what commodity chains are. So commodity chains are basically when you take the goods from the primary extraction point over here and you take them to the manufacturing point, then you ship them all the way to the place where they're going to be sold. That's a commodity chain. A commodity chain follows the whole path from the primary extraction of the resources to the manufacturing to the final selling and consumption of the products. The commodity chain just follows the first product all the way until it's sold. That's what a commodity chain is. What the slide says is it analyzes the whole process that it takes to turn raw materials into the final and finished consumer product to be sold. Raw materials and finished products get traded around the world by many different forms of long-distance transport. If you've been watching these bonus streams from the beginning, Shreya had a stream about the global economy on, I believe it was the 9th of this month. It was our first AP Human bonus stream for Unit 7, and she talked about how our economy interacts globally, what causes the globalization, what are the negative and positive effects of a global economy. So that's what that stream was. If you haven't seen it, it'd be great to go back and watch the earlier Unit 7 streams. I think that I had 2 or 3 people who are in the stream right now in my stream last week, which is pretty great. We talked about the Industrial Revolution, industrialization, so I would totally recommend you go back and watch those if you want more context for what we're talking about here. All right. So a break of bulk point is where cargo is transferred from one mode of transportation to another. So the break of bulk point is basically like the dots along the commodity chain. So I kind of want to draw something for you. So give me 2 seconds to come grab something. All right. I'm going to stand up so you can see this. I'm going to make myself bigger and the slide smaller for a second. I kind of want to draw out commodity chains and breakable points for you. I just need to find a marker that might work with this. Okay, and then I'm going to need another color right here. All right, so I'm going to try to describe commodity chains and breakable points. So here, let me see, where can I start? So right there, all the way to right there. So right here, this is where we're going to get our raw materials from. This is where our commodity chain starts. Right here. Oh, you cannot read that. There is no way that you were able to read that at all. I'm so sorry. Let me write this out for a second. Okay. So this point right here, this is where you're going to get your raw materials from. Then, after you get the raw materials from the earth in the primary activity, so this is your primary activity, you're going to take them, using the blue marker, to the and then that dot is the manufacturing plant. So you're going to take the raw materials, and they're going to transfer them to the manufacturing plant. Then, after we're done with the manufacturing, we're going to take them to a wholesale center. So this is something that I kind of skipped because it doesn't fit into an economic activity the way that the others do, but I'm going to describe it in a minute. And then finally, I'm going to move this over. You're going to take them to the store. You're going to take them to the place where people buy them, where the consumers buy the goods. And then the consumers will take them home, and then your commodity chain will be done. So the store where they sell them is going to be the tertiary. Manufacturing plant is going to be your secondary. And the raw materials are going to be your primary. So I know that my handwriting is awful, but I'm trying to show you guys this, and I hate drawing on my screen on my laptop because it's just not fun. So we have the raw materials here in the primary area. That's where we're going to extract them. Then we're going to take them to the manufacturing plant. This manufacturing plant is a break of bulk point on the commodity chain. So this whole like timeline, line graph, Tista, I don't even know what it's called thing, is our commodity chain. This follows the whole raw material to where it's produced, to where it's sold, to where the consumer takes it to their house and uses it. So this describes a whole economy right here. This whole commodity chain is an economy with 1, 2, 3, 4 break of bulk points. So this break of bulk point, this is where we're stealing these materials from the earth, we're taking them out of the earth, and we're putting them on a truck. That's where we're breaking our bulk. Then we're going to take them to the manufacturing plant. We're going to take them off that truck. Then we're going to get them manufactured into consumer goods. Then we're going to put them on another truck to go, or a plane, or a boat, or a train, you know, any method of transportation to take them here. So we have 1, 2 break of bulk points so far. Then we take them to the wholesale center for the company. This is like the Kroger distribution plant, you know. We have the Publix, Kroger, Walmart, whatever manufacturing plant here. Then they take them to the Kroger, Walmart, Publix warehouse that we're calling a wholesale center. So they're going to get off the truck, boat, train, plane, whatever, there. Then they're going to be put into the warehouse. Then when stores, you know, fill out a purchase order saying, I need 159 VO5 shampoo bottles, they're going to drive on a train, bus, car, truck, plane, boat, whatever, to the store to be sold to consumers. And then they're going to get off that truck. Then the consumers are going to buy them. Then they're going to put them in their car to go home, or their shopping basket to take on the train home. And then they're going to go home with the consumer. So this whole chain right here is a commodity chain. And each one of these points is a break of bulk point because we're transferring where the goods are going and how they're getting there. So just like the definition says on my slide, a break a bulk point, I'm going to make myself bigger again after I read this to you. So to refresh on the definitions, the commodity chain is what analyzes the whole process that it takes to turn the raw materials. So we've got our raw materials right here. Then I'm going to make myself bigger again. So we've got our raw materials right here. Then we're going to follow this whole process to take them all the way to where the consumers are going to buy them in this ending point right here. So the commodity chain is what follows here to here. We could just skip from here to here like we did in our definition of an economy, but the commodity chain analyzes the whole, process that it takes to get there. Now, what's a break a bulk point? It's where cargo is transferred from one mode of transportation to another. So the mode of transportation here, the goods are in the earth. We take them out, put them on a train, car, bus, truck, whatever, to take them to the manufacturing plant. Then they're getting on another mode of transportation to the wholesale center. Then they're on another mode of transportation to the store. So all of these dots are breakable points, and all of the, the whole timeline is going to be our commodity chain. Does that help you visualize what a commodity chain and breakable points are? I know I can't draw, so I'm not even going to try to, but I hope that this kind of explains even with my messy handwriting. So Brittany says, so wholesale like a Costco. Okay, maybe wholesale wasn't the right word there. Let's say distribution center. So Costco is the store here. So your family buys goods from Costco. They're just in bulk. But what happens here is the company takes them from the distribution center to the store. So the company buys the goods from the distribution center, like Kroger buys things from a place like Costco, but for grocery stores, to take them to the store. Does that make more sense, Brittany? Does that clarify? Yes, it helped a lot, the drawing. Okay, perfect. Does anybody else have any questions about commodity chains, break a bulk, what activities happen where, anything like that? Nope, it looks like you're all good, so I'm going to erase this. I don't even have an eraser or anything for this, so we're just going to use a sheet of paper. High class right here. I'll fix this later, gosh. Give me 2 seconds to put this away now. Okay. 2 more seconds, I promise. Sorry. Okay. Let me wash this off real quick. Okay. Sorry, thank you guys so much for being patient. That was kind of a, I can do this right now to help explain the concept to you guys kind of thing. Not a thought out, plan. So, that's it. We're done with content for Unit 7. Yay! All right. So does anybody need any clarification, any help, any questions with anything that you've seen in Unit 7 so far? Shreya talked about what the GDP of a country was, but I didn't really understand it. Or, can you go back over the difference between quaternary and quinary economic activities? Anything like that. Okay, Brittany's good. I want all of you guys to respond with you're good, so I know to move on, because we're kind of just going to do a, conclusion, culminating activity type thing. I don't want to go on unless you guys are ready to go on. All right, so Michaela's good, Sarah's good, Brittany's good, Kelly's good. Is Hannah still? Okay, everybody's good. Perfect. So let's move on. So I want to do this thing called a mind master. I want to try this out. This is the first time doing it, so this is going to be really, interesting. There's a link, like a big green button right there that says Unit 7 Mind Mapper. You should see it right there-ish if you're on a laptop, or right there if you're on a computer. I don't really know where I am, so it's going to be somewhere in the right here area. It's a green button that says Unit 7 Mind Mapper that I just put up, and I want you guys to click on that if you can still stay in the stream when you click on it. So can everybody get to that link? If you can't get to that link and stay in the stream, it's okay. Don't worry about clicking on the link. I'll just share my screen with you guys while we do this. All right. Okay, you got to the link and you're still in the stream. Perfect. Okay. So I want to do this like kind of mind map, like let's review everything we learned, because we don't have a test covering this unit, unless you do, and this is going to be a really good study tool for you. But we don't have a test for this unit, so I'm never going to like actually study everything again. So let's go over it right now. All right, so I want to go in order of when we had our streams. The first stream that we had on April 9th was the global economy with Shreya. Then on April 16th, Shreya streamed about socioeconomics and sustainable development. Then last Thursday on the 24th or 23rd, I talked about the Industrial Revolution. And today we're talking about economic sectors and patterns. So I want to go in order because this one will obviously be the easiest since you're all here. But what I want you guys to do is to put vocab words in the chat. Like, use this chat, like put any vocab words, any key concepts, terms, anything that you think connects to the global economy. And so, for example, if this would work. Perfect. All right. So global economy, maybe I'll say commodity chain all the way across country borders. So for the global economy, we could talk about how goods go from country to country, because sometimes we get the resources from a place like Mongolia, then they're manufactured in China, and then they're sold in the US. You know, so does anybody have anything like that to say about the global economy? Or like you can even elaborate on that. And what you could do that way is like, I think that somehow I can, or maybe I can't, depends. Oh, right there. So then after that, like key topic, I can say the good raw materials from Mongolia. And then I can say manufacturing in China. I think I spelled manufacturing wrong, but we're going to ignore that. Selling to consumers in US. It's like you can even just elaborate on things that way if somebody else has another idea. So first, let's see, does anybody have any vocab words about the global economy? Let's hope that this actually, yes, it works. Okay, anybody have like any major vocab words that they learned in Shreya Stream or they know apply to like the global economy? If nobody does, then I have a few that you guys can elaborate on. Anybody have any ideas? Put something in the chat. All right, Sarah says time distance decay. Sure. Does anybody want to elaborate on what time distance decay is? So you could also say that this is like time space compression. You know, there are a few words that describe this. I can't think of one, but yeah, sure. Anything like that. Does anybody want to elaborate on that? Give an example, maybe. Waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. Okay, perfect. You're defining it. That's what I wanted. So you could say the further away it gets, something gets from its point of origination, from its hearth, point of origin. So that's just a fancy, you know, human geo vocab word that I definitely spelled origination wrong. What did Brittany say? It has less interaction. Oh, no. I better. Darn it. Oh, how do I leave brainstorming mode? Sorry, this is a new technology for me that I wanted to try, but maybe this won't work. Perfect. Is it not going to let me do that? Sorry, I'm learning this new technology here, so. Oh, okay. Well, this does not seem like it wants to work, so we're just going to have to retype that real quick. So we could say time, distance, decay. I'm sorry, guys. Just putting more ideas in the chat, and I will get to them. Further away from Earth, point of origin, less interaction, dash popularity. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go check the chat now. Brittany, Sarah, good job with that one. Michaela says the further away. Yeah, sure. Perfect. Michaela also defined it. Let's see. Kelly says tariffs and taxes, exports, imports. Those are two perfect vocab words. So we could talk about exports, imports, and then what do I have to do? Tariffs and taxes. So does anybody want to tell me anything about imports, exports? Oh, Sarah says outsourcing. So I think we have enough like things to define and explain. How about you guys just give me some definitions or explanations of those? Anybody? Okay, I'll do outsourcing for you. Companies move certain economic activities away from the rest of their company, usually in foreign countries. And when it's in a foreign country, it's called offshoring. So here. I'm going to make all of these words bigger so it's easier for you to tell, like, what's a definition, what's a, you know, everything. So let me go check the chat again. So imports are goods that are produced abroad, and exports are shipping the product to another country. Perfect. Imports. Nope, I want small text for this. Okay, I am learning that I do not like this software very much because it is not being my friend. So imports equal goods from other countries coming into yours. Ooh, and I cannot type. And then exports equal goods sent from your country to other countries. Then let me make that text smaller. Boom, boom, boom. Perfect. Okay, so thanks, Kelly, Sarah, for defining imports and exports from me. Ooh, I like that word, buying goods from other countries. I'm going to add that, Sarah. Or was that Kelly? I don't know. I don't remember. Right. Any new info in the chat here? Let's see. So we have imports, exports. Tariffs are taxes on imported goods. Perfect, concise, clear. Just definitely what you need in that definition. So I think we have enough for talking about the global economy. Does this look interesting? Should we keep going with this idea? Do you like this? Oh, okay, perfect. Another elaboration on tariffs. Tariffs. Say tariffs protect. How did you phrase that? Protect domestic production. Domestic goods and production. Okay. So basically, we explain the how and the why of tariffs. So do you guys like this? Should we keep going with this for the other, stream topics, units? parts of the stream topics or parts of the unit. Do you like this? Yes, no, maybe so. Yeah, Kelly, you like it? Okay. Sarah? Yep. Awesome. I thought that this was going to fail so bad. It did in the beginning, but now we're doing great. All right, so now we're moving on to socioeconomic and sustainable development. If it would work. We're learning. We're all learning together. Does anybody have anything about socioeconomics and sustainable development? So I'll give the first example while you guys are thinking. So I can have GDP versus DNP versus GNI. So now I'm going to try to define all these things. So GDP equals gross domestic product. Keep thinking of things in the chat and I'll check back in a minute. GNP equals gross national product. Hopefully I didn't steal your idea. And then GNI equals gross national income. Now, you guys can either help me define these things or think of more ideas on your own. Let me see. Free trade. Wait. Sarah, what are you trying to describe or something? I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Oh, free trade as a vocab word, sure. So, socioeconomics, free trade, and then what did Brittany say? Structural adjustment program. Ooh, that's a big fancy word. Anybody want to elaborate on any of those ideas? Okay, stock market could be socioeconomics. That's perfect. That's really, it's not really global economy because some stock markets are global, but not really. I kind of actually like the idea of free trade, maybe inside of, global economy instead. Ooh, no, that is not what I wanted to do. Okay, so maybe we'll put that right there. Okay, I'm going to delete these for a second. So I'll put, what did you say? Stock markets and purchasing parity power. That's just a personal thing. Like, you guys can, I think I assign you guys your own copies at the end of the stream, and you guys can edit them or whatever. So whatever you want to put wherever, you can do that. I'm just doing this for right now. Stock markets, and then PPP, which is purchasing parity power. All right, so I can explain purchasing parity power for you or somebody else in the chat. So, okay, so Brittany's describing structural adjustment program, which, yes, I meant to put in there. Sorry, I did not. I forgot. My bad. So I'm just going to copy paste your definition so I don't have to spend time typing it because that was perfect. Boom. Okay, so let's see, anything new? Okay, so I'll do purchasing parity power for you guys. Oh crap, my window's not loading. Okay, so I'll give you guys a few more minutes to type while I figure out why my thing is not working. Hopefully that gives you guys some time to think. Okay, I think I'm just going to refresh this, so keep typing in the chat. I will be there in just a second. Okay, perfect. So I've refreshed, and I am back, and this link should work now. So I can define purchasing parity power for you. So because it doesn't look like anybody else has, So I forgot that we already did that. So we can say PPP is a measurement of how much a good is worth in different currencies and in different regions. There you go. I've gotten my typing skills back somehow magically. All right. Any new ideas, or are we good with those? Since we're just going to keep going right now, I am going to define gross domestic product and stuff for you. If you guys want to define one of those, drop it in the chat, but if not, then I'm just going to keep going with this. Put anything in the chat about socioeconomics or sustainable development. You know, if any of you guys want to try to define HDI, which is Human Development Index, or you want to try to define Gender Inequality Index, do that. Do that. All right, so I'm going to define GDP right now with a definition that I already wrote ahead of time, just because. And then I also have one for GNI. And I need to. Oh, I just realized I put that one in the wrong place. So, oopsie daisy. Okay, so let me go check the chat again. So, oh, Brittany did HDI for me. Perfect. And your definition looks pretty perfect. And so we've got HDI equals Human Development Index. And then we have also got that indicator of level development constructed by the UN, and you have all three conditions for HDI. Perfect. Brittany gets a gold star for today for doing that definition perfectly. All right, so I think we've done enough for socioeconomics and sustainable development. So now let's move on to Industrial Revolution. So I can think of one off the bat. Industrial Revolution. I'm going to give you guys the words just for time's sake, since we only have like 10 minutes left. And you guys can choose to define any of these or give me an example, anything like that. Gosh, today is not my day in spelling. Actually, I think that kind of goes under agglomeration. So I did industrialization, the DTM, which is the demographic transition model. So try to give me a stage for this one and then like a country example if you can. Right, anything off the bat? Brownfields, Sarah just defined that one perfectly. Yep. So they've rusted the color brown. That's the only thing that I'm going to add. That's why they're called brownfields, because they're pretty brown because of all the rust. So I'll define the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century in Great Britain. Production of goods shifted to factories and mass production using assembly line formats instead of the previous cottage industry and personal. We'll just say that. If you don't understand anything that I'm typing, Please say something. So Michaela, you're about half right. So industrialization takes place right in between stage 2 and stage 3 of the DTM. So you were like basically there. It happened like as stage 2 is ending and as stage 3 is beginning, because stage 3 has to do with, you have an industrialized country now. That's kind of like the definition of Rostow stages of growth. So I can actually add on to that in Rostow's stages of growth. And industrialized country is the third stage of growth. And I talked in depth about the DTM and Rostow's model for industrialization there. So does anybody want to define agglomeration or uneven development? Does anybody want to define those? All right, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm thinking of if there's anything else that needs to be defined for industrial revolution. I don't really think that there is. Any definitions for, okay. Then I'll just do agglomeration right here. Oh, no. How would I do? Oh, no. Oh, no. This is not good at all. All right, guys. So, Harrison made an oopsies. And we're going to just keep going, and I'm going to put these things back later. So, Brittany, if you want to define deindustrialization for me, that would be awesome. Other one to be defined right there. I'm so sorry if I stole one that you defined and I accidentally deleted it. That is not what I meant to do. Brittany, if you want to define deindustrialization for me, I will copy paste your definition right there. All right. So Brittany is defining industrialization, so I will define agglomeration as long as she's not done yet. Okay, perfect. So Brittany has defined the industrialization with an incline in technology and higher stages of the DTM. Okay. Agglomeration, businesses center, business-centered. Oh no, what is going on? Businesses centered near each other in the same industry to attract customers and employees to one central location for the major. And I spelled for with an O. So I think we're doing pretty good right now. Okay, so now we're on to today's stream, and I have about 5 minutes left to go with you guys. That should be perfect because everything should be fresh on our mind. So first, I am just going to start with the, safety. Okay, can I zoom in here? Or will my computer not? There we go. See, now it does what I want. Okay, so the different stages of economic activity. Primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, even though I spelled that very wrong, I think, and then quinary. Oh no, I spelled it right. Perfect. All right. So in primary, you have extraction. Give me other vocab words in the chat, and I'll check on them in 1 second as I define these really quickly. Okay, let me go check oh, there's a ton of stuff in the chat now. Commodity chain, fair trade. And then also in here, we didn't talk about this in today's stream. I kind of wanted to, but I was told not to because we were supposed to cover this in an earlier stream, but it accidentally got skipped. NAFTA, Supranational Organizations. I think this did get covered in another stream, but it really works with today's, but somebody already covered it. Any other ideas? Least cost theory, and that's where I'll put bulk gaining and bulk reducing. So does anybody have any definitions for any of these words that I can take? So I'm going to do the definition of commodity chain, and then I'll also include break of bulk in there. Goods are transferred from one mode of transport to another. All right, so does anybody have any definitions here? I don't see any refreshing in the chat, so I'm just going to keep going because we have, we're almost out of time. So for supranational organizations, we have NAFTA, the EU, NATO, OPEC, etc. I'm not going to define all those, but organizations containing many different states and governments working together for a common goal of military expansion trade or economic zones. All right. Thank you. Oh, World Bank and Asian are examples of supranational organizations. And while I'm typing all this, does anybody want to are your teachers still covering the unit 6 and 7 topics or not? I'm just kind of interested. When products are made and traded. Okay, perfect. Yeah, foreign direct investments are kind of not as big of a thing in AP Human Geography. They were bigger last year, but they're not even referenced on the course and exam description this year. So it's not really something that we're supposed to cover. So final product. Final product weighs less and costs less. I'm sorry this is taking so long, guys. This is my bad. I thought that this would be a lot shorter. Location of manufacturing plants is made to reduce costs for transportation of materials. Theory by Alfred Weber. All right. Ooh, that's a lot. All right, so we covered 6 before, but we're not covering 7. We went out of order, so we did chapter 10 before we left, added value. All right, so this looks like a pretty complete chart to me. I want to zoom out and show you guys the whole thing. I know you guys can access it on your screens, but look at this masterpiece of a chart. I want to kind of move this closer so you can see everything better, but maybe I can move it out a little bit more, and then I can move this one down a little bit more. Boom. All right. So this is a massive chart. So let me see if I can download this for you guys and kind of see if it actually works. I wonder if this will actually work or not. We're going to see. So this is a pretty complete chart. I'm going to try to figure out a way that I can have you guys download this. I'm not really sure what I can do here, but we're going to see. Okay, so this may or may not work for me. Perfect. Okay, and no, this is not going to work. So you guys have the link to this mind map thing. I'm going to try to make it for a way where you guys can download it, but you can really just use the link. I'm going to paste it again in the chat, and you guys can study this again. You guys can look at it again, all sorts of good things. This chart has been completed by us. You guys worked on this with me. It's a pretty great thing. It's a massive chart that covers all the topics from all of the different streams that we had. So you guys should be proud for completing this and knowing all of this stuff. This is honestly most of the topics, if not all of the topics that are covered in Unit 7 in this course. You guys are rock stars for knowing exactly, everything that goes into these charts, even though most of your classes aren't covering Unit 7. So congrats to you guys for coming to all these bonus streams, learning all of the stuff that's not even going to be on the exam. That just shows how great of a student you are. So we have all these things defined. We have some examples in here. We have some elaboration. This is great. So great job completing this, you guys. I don't think there's a way that I can download this to share with you because it's making me pay for things, and I don't really want to do that because, I love you guys, but I don't really want to pay. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to pay for it. Let's see. So what I can do is I can export this file, and maybe it'll let me no, it won't. All right. So it's not going to let me export the file because it says I have to pay for it. So yeah, just share the link, screenshot the different sections. I want you guys to you guys have spent time learning this. And I want you guys to see, like, you have learned all of this and your classes aren't even covering it. Like, you guys should be proud of what you did on this chart. When we completed this whole chart in, I had a timer going, 32 minutes. We did all of that together in 32 minutes. So good job, guys. This stuff isn't even on your exam. What I would recommend doing is this Mind Master thing is free if you create like a maximum of 5 of these boards or something. I don't know what the exact number is. I think it's 5. I'm not sure though. But like, if you do this for like Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, for Unit 3, you could do culture, identity, religion, language, and then do the same thing. For Unit 2, you could do population, migration, and you could do like the math stuff with crude birth rate, crude death rate. For Unit 5, you could do the practice of agriculture, where you could talk about like sustainability. You could talk about von Thunen model. You could do all sorts of different topics. Like, you guys can do this on your own. Look, I believe in you. Study for this AP exam. Come to the evening sessions. I'm so sad that this is our last AP Human Geography bonus stream together. But, you know, every good thing must come to an end, right? Yeah. Even though you guys might not have loved like learning new stuff, but you know, it was valuable. You guys learned something. Like, Unit 7 is kind of nestled into other a lot of other AP classes. Like, it's in AP Econ. There's some like small economics, and like you have to analyze economic things in WAP, World History, AP Euro. You know, tons of great stuff like that. You can do this for other units. That website is called MindMeister, I think. So try to do it yourself. You know, learn something. It's a study tool. Like, it's really visual. And also, if you try to use different colors and emojis like I did, some studies show like it's better for memory retention and stuff. And also, if you make these and you put a topic that's on your AP exam, that's like your FRQ topic, if you do like one for Unit 3 and you have a topic about like extinct languages on your FRQ, you already have some information about extinct languages. Like, it's something like that you can easily reference and study if you like save your links, you know? So make sure you guys keep studying for the AP exam, but also study and give yourself self-care. Study, self-care. So have a great day, guys. I've already taken up 70 minutes of your time. Hope you had fun today. Hope you learned something today, and hope I helped you. So peace out. Bye, guys.